Are you ready? Are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Phenomenal.
You know how it happens. You're treating their sprains, or fixing the trains, or trying too hard to come first. You sure got a thirst. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. A long, cold Vic.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own. It could be that great chalk and biscuit coating.
So hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that smooth toffee ice cream in the centre. Or that whole delicious golden gay time taste.
Hard to have a gay time on your own.
Streets.
A sniper's dream, 100 megabytes of memory. He has his forehead, and after head goes brains vertical. No matter who he races, he's gonna have a head start. Frontal globe, remembers what happened to Mars. His barber stands on the second floor. Why can you still see his forehead with the comments open? Shut his eyes. He got a lot on his mind. He's been told to hold that thought all his life. Rose sweat tries before it reaches his eyes. He needs bangs. Big freeze will cause an avalanche. I wonder what time zone his forehead's in. Depends on which way he is facing. Rose starts every sentence with I know. His hairline went from landscape to portrait noise. Signals in the previous reel. Rose imaginations in 4K Ultra HD. If you do an inch on his forehead, Corby would survive. His forehead says 6'5", but his eyes say 5'9". The most epic heroic song of all time. Rose's forehead has a national anthem. Bro knew this would happen. Shut it!
Professor, would you say it's time for our viewers to crack each other's heads open and feast on the goo inside?
Yes, I would, Kent.
What am I doing down here? How do I get back up? This one? How weird. Welcome, everybody, to the show. I just played the launch stream video because we are here indeed to launch Eudaimonia, which I do know how to pronounce. Book 3. Is it called Goodbye? Goodbye. I see Joshua, aka Raiden Radio, in party mode, waiting in the wings. I'm eager to bring him in. But very quickly, before we do any of that, I must acknowledge the beautiful people here in the chat. First and foremost, Moromi, who snuck in first. I think that's his 5th for the year. So I'm going to nudge that over there and put him up there. Pride of place. We have the one, the only, the Golden Wrench, Mr. Mo Biggs in the house. Jav is here. Zombie Boy is here. Felix Huss with the link to the campaign It is there. Now, quietly between you and I think the campaign might actually be live, but that's okay. We will still play a video as is warranted on the launch party stream. I see Citizen Ronan here. I see Shadow Punk, Raiden's partner in crime over there on the show. Mr. Aldous on the farm just off Lower Orwell Lane. Great to see here. We got Rod Looper in the house. Not only an artist on my book, but I believe an artist on this book too. You guys don't sleep. No time to sleep, Rod. We have books to promote, books to launch. Dr. Mars, Retro Alexis here, Citizen Roan. I will say hello quickly to Jennifer Grover. Great to see you here, Jennifer. I'll say hello to Hojo, the Fist of Resistance. And I will say hello to Calvin Gulotta. Welcome. Great to have you. He says, I made it. Woohoo. Good evening, all. I want to play my Gandalf video because it reminds me of what Raiden looks like right now. So let me just play that quickly as an intro to entering him into the show.
What happened, Gandalf? Why didn't you meet us?
Oh, I'm sorry, Frodo. I was delayed.
Look at you. You started the party. I need a pair of glasses as well. I don't have any.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I'm doing well. How you doing? I got to say ahoy, ahoy.
In the full party mode, disco lights and all ready to. Actually, the lights kind of look like Eudaimonia. Like,
yeah.
You know, with
there's a theme. I got my Exciting Whites t-shirt on.
Exciting Whites? What the hell is that?
It's a football thing. The team I follow, they have two players that are white, and they play a position that's not normally played by white people. So they've been dubbed the Exciting Whites.
That's a fantastic name. God bless them. We are here now. The book is already live.
Yeah, I am the moron, and I hadn't launched a campaign in a while, and I accidentally pushed it one too far. I was hoping you were going to ignore that and just pretend it wasn't. Yeah, just play mentally.
Wow, and wow. That's Alda says, and wow, but that's okay because we'll still do the thing and everything. It's all good. He finally admitted it. It's all good. It's all good. Well, look, I mean, it's live. Everyone is gathered here. Have we gotten
there's a lot of
the Diaz Bros is finished yet? They normally do raid into the show. I don't know if they have yet. Just looking here, I don't think they have. So maybe we wait until they come in and we'll play the video. I think that's probably a good idea. You know, if they do it,
or we could have a dance party.
We're already halfway there. Maybe I'll just tell everyone what I did. I just reread this one right here. Well, actually, I read it on Global Comics, but you know, because I didn't want to open it. It was easier for me.
Sure.
And yeah, man, I was just like blown away again. I'll tell a story. I can't remember who it was. Who was the guy years ago who had a ponytail and he had a YouTube channel and used to talk comics? I'm pretty sure he had a book. He had really long hair and a ponytail. Anyway, he was raving about this book. He was like, this is unlike anything I've ever read in comics before. It's just completely taken me aback. And it was like, and it's called, and you know how to pronounce it. And it took me years to learn how to pronounce it as well. It's like, anyway, he was going on about it. Now, it wasn't Gun Demon Greg. No, it was, it's completely gone. Anyway, I got it based on that recommendation. And I remember being blown away at the time, but you know, that was a few years ago. So it's just like, it got to the point where I was like, I remembered I really loved it, but I didn't remember what was in it. And yeah, I know, right? That is a throwback. Gun Demon Greg is the guy who told me he's expecting to raise $1 million on his campaign. And we launched it and there was nothing on the campaign page. That's what I remember. Nice guy, but I thought his expectations were probably a little bit high. Alder says a lot of people that used to be around doing reviews and promotion are gone now. That is true. Yeah, it's a game of attrition. No, and I was like, all right, you know what? Before we do the show tonight, I'll go back and read it, so at least remember what it's all about. And I tell you, it's an experience, because when you're just living your normal life, you have breakfast, you get up, you whatever, you're not quite in the space where I think you need to be to read a book like yours. So it was like, it took me a little bit of time. It took me about 5 pages to sort of descend. And then you start getting in there and you're just dragged into this story. And it's like, man, it takes you places. And that's why I had to tweet about it. I was like, dude, like, so much of what we do is about the spectacle. Right. And, and the art in this book is amazing too, by the way. I'm not like throwing shade in the art, but man, the writing you pulled off, at least in that first volume, was out of this world. And I just wanted to tip my hat to you. Yeah, well,
one of the biggest things I've done since the last time I was on here is I kind of found my space, because it's not a traditional comic book. And I would do like a Comic-Con and people would be like, what is this? It just wouldn't click. But I started doing more art shows and like literary events. And even though comics is nothing like what they're looking for, they connect with it a lot better. So I've gotten much better at basically moving books to artsy fartsy people and literary people.
I can 100% see that. But I also want to implore, even if you've never read or even come across a book like Eudaimonia before, get past that initial stage and get into it, because it's like unlike anything else you've probably ever read. If you could read comics your whole life and you would never come across something like this. So again, it takes a little while to get outside of your kind of day-to-day normal life and get into the sort of space you need to be into when you're reading a story, because when you're finally in there, man, like it hits you right in the feels, and it's just extraordinarily well written. And so that's what I just want to preface this whole thing. I'm very glad I read it again. Actually, Mo's telling me to read something else. Don't worry, he came up with a plan to fulfill. He's making an NE game and will use the massive profits to fund Gun Demon. All right, that's Greg. Yeah. He was saying that he had like an in on some radio station, and I was like, man, I hope it works for you. But unfortunately, it didn't. Not that one. I skipped one. Okay, what is it? Raiden Radio finally found his space. The Studio 54's men's room. Is that? Yeah, that's where he is.
Yeah, exactly. Right now.
That's where his house.
Andy Warhol is right over there.
Oh, look, one of the artists on your book. Mr. Rod Looper. Hey, now that I saw all my pages from the short stories on the books are there on Indiegogo as a book preview. I love the colors. There you go.
Yeah, there's quite a few surprises on the campaign page that hopefully I'll get a chance to pick your brain about, because I did do some kind of out there things.
I believe it. All right, we got Sumo Thori in the chat, which I think it means it's time. It's just time to go. Let's do it. I mean, we can't wait around for Phil and Brandon to get off whatever they're doing. We have our own schedule to keep here. It's 15 minutes in. That's normally the time, which means it is time to launch officially Eudaimonia Book 3, the final chapter by one Joshua Plank. Let's do it. Everybody turn it up. Get those headphones in. And if you do back, put your backer number in the chat. It's over in Indiegogo, so you will get a backer number. And let's know it so we can shout you out. All right, guys, here we go. Let's launch it. It's live. Yes, look, it's finally live.
Oh my
Amazing.
goodness.
It is there. And there's already one backer.
Wow.
29 dudes.
Wow.
Fantastic. A very achievable goal, too, by the way. Oh my God. No, there's 5 backers. Wow. How did that happen? Unbelievable.
Hey, Bancroft bump.
We're already 68%. Yeah, that's exactly. It's all me.
It's
all
immediate and highly sexual.
riff for the start of it. Of course, yes. Here we go. All right. Let's just dive right into it. I mean, this thing could actually fund almost straight away. I haven't seen any backer numbers in the chat yet, so they might not actually be here in the chat. Oh, and shout out to the Diaz bros for the Zaid raid. I see Ghost of Nessa in the chat here. Look, we've got Eric Grant, we got Snugs, we got some person, down goes Solo. Thank you, everybody who has just joined us. We are helping Raiden Radio, aka Joshua Plack, launch the 3rd and final book of his amazing and amazingly different Eudaimonia comic book series. Hey, what's up, Jose? Great to see you here. And it's just gone live just now because we just played the video. And we're going to dive into it. Now, in the first book, we have the story of the fellow who's in World War I.
Yes.
And he's digging his hole. And I don't want to really get into what it is all about, because again, this is a singular experience. It is not going to be like other comic books you read. So I don't want to I just want to let you guys read it. And I very rarely give the full on a recommendation. I 100% recommend reading Eudaimonia and seeing what it's all about. Books are flying off the shelves like poster off roll tour. We got Snuggy in the house, who is our official launch keeper. What is it? Number keeper, official counter of the funds. We got Mike Marop, who was back in number 4. Looking forward to this one. JP never disappoints. Yeah, the other one, I mean, the one that is a bit more, I would think, kind of people would understand a bit easier, Nualam, is another one that I really enjoyed and I'm looking forward to. But we are here. It is a 50-page collection of new stories. How many artists and stories in this?
That is going to depend on how the campaign does, which you'll see in a moment.
Look at this. We got Jose Garcia, Rich Ayala, Velasca. That's one I'm not familiar with. We've got Rod Looper, the one, the only, and Rod We Trust, Roy Mercado, Federica Manson, and more. This one down here, Emi Utera. You can actually read that over on Global Comics right now. It's a 6-page preview.
The last summer.
Get a little bit of a taste of what sort of story is being written here. We got a member chat. Bogan chat from Snugs. Don't leave out that Oliver's 656, the colorist on Rich Ayala's page. Check this out, everybody. They're a massive amount of talent. Again, I'm super focused on the sort of singular writing that is happening in this book, but I don't want to overshadow the whole way through. The art is spectacular. So it's not it's just for writers. The art is brilliant as well as the writing. Zaid says, all Zaid viewers, Brandon wants you to know the video game was Motor Mayhem. There you go. Back in number 7, Aldous. And you guys will be doing an after party stream later tonight, I believe. Over on his
yeah, we're going to be talking about Chaikin Fantasy Comic and doing an after party.
Excellent. Yes. Cannot recommend this enough. If you're on the fence, pick it up. Yeah, there is a noticeable, let's say, dearth, lacking of writer-focused stories in the indies. And, I put this one right up there. Per Berg is another phenomenal writer. There are obviously others out there, but this is right up there. Okay, enough of this. Oh, Dean, back at number 9. Thank you, everyone. And anyone else who has backed, please do let us know. Actually, back at number 9. I mean, we might be getting close. We're at 68% with 5 backers. And 85 with 8. Actually, back at number 9 might get it to 85%. All right. Getting there. Okay. Eudaimonia, which is Greek for, it's like a state of happiness. Is that what it is?
Oh, I actually I was thinking ahead. I have the definition for you at the top and the little pronunciation thing.
Eudaimonia. From Greek philosophy, that which would make us happy if we knew its existence, but quite independently of whether we do know about it. Well, the Greeks really dug in there.
Yeah.
They had a word for that. I wonder how that came up in general ancient Greek conversation.
Oh yeah, like Germans had Schadenfreude, a concept of they invented a word just for that.
German has so many fantastic words that you can only really know by speaking it.
Yeah.
And like when you translate it into English, it ends up being a sentence, just like this.
Horribly ugly language. It's all like,
don't say that too loudly. You know, my wife is half German.
Oh, yeah, I knew
that. Yeah. Hey, truth is the truth. How did this come about? You've got this thing, you got this concept, this Greek philosophical concept, and then you write this story about World War II, and then there was another story as well afterwards. And now I don't know what any of these stories is other than this one, which I have read. And they all seem to be disparate, which would lead you to think, okay, it's kind of like an anthology, but is it? How would you describe your book?
So the way this is structured, so first off, to answer your first question, it came from simultaneously studying philosophy while I was studying World War I, and kind of working those two narratives into one story. There is a kind of concurrent thread that runs through the whole series. So if you look at the 3 covers side by side, you have, if you think of the Eudaimonia as emanating from the woman's cello, the second book, which by the way, I think a lot of people slept on, I think that has some of the best, it ties together the narratives of the first book pretty neatly. But if you look at the third cover, it looks almost kind of post-apocalyptic, but it's still there. The Eudaimonia is still coming out of the cello. So it's kind of a representation of how the concept is eternal. It lives in everybody, no matter what happens. So you could almost say that the story is kind of fracturing into how Eudaimonia is found in many different people, not just the characters of the first book, not just the characters of the second book. It's something that everybody grapples with. So in its own weird way, this is an anthology of different stories, but it's still about that concept of finding meaning and adding meaning to our lives.
Yeah, that speaks to exactly what I was just saying. That, and I think that is why when you were just trying to sell this to comic book people at a convention, they're sort of walking around in their convention mind. They're thinking, what am I going to
furries,
superheroes and this and that, and they're not really ready for something like this.
No, if I was there and I met me at a convention, I would run like hell.
Well, I've always said about you,
I mean, look at my bisexual lighting.
You're a born storyteller, and this is like evident in the work that you're putting out as well. I'm getting word from Snuggy here that something might be happening. Let me scroll up and have a look. Let's refresh. And 139% funded from 10 backers. You know what that means, everybody. It is time. It is time to play the video. Congratulations, everybody. Let's celebrate.
will.
Celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now.
Congratulations. What does Aldous mean by saying you've gone this long without a JP moment? What's he expecting?
I don't know. I'll think of something. You know, where I say something incredibly moronic. I mean,
So
I did
how long?
bisexual lady. Sorry.
So you're gonna have like I'm counting at least sort of like 7 or what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 stories so far. And depending on how well the campaign goes, you may add more. Have you got them already written, and you have artists lined up, maybe? Or
Some of them, most of them have been written. Some of them I have artists lined up. Well, 1 or 2 of them I haven't written yet. The very last story that's going to be in it, no matter what, is just going to be titled Eudaimonia. And there's going to be. So you remember in New Harlem, at the end of New Harlem, you had that moment where you turn the page and there's a business card there for you. Like Coleman's handing you his business card. I was trying to create a kind of interactive moment where the book is interacting with the customer. I have something like that planned for the final story in the books, which is basically the final story in the series. But it's one of those things where if I talk about it, I'm going to spoil it. But anybody who is on the mailing list who backs, and anybody who backs in this opening weekend, is going to get their very own custom thing that I cannot spoil, but it's going to be just for you. So I've always tried to be creative with offering things to backers, and that's kind of my kind of final hurrah. But it will be just for you, the individual.
I'm luckily I am signed up, so I just need to back it. Well, you need to back it in the first week. Is that what you said?
The opening weekend. So today, tomorrow, or Sunday.
Ooh, good stuff. Good stuff. Mo says Bancroft missed a few key moments of Marlon because he gets that saliva from spitting every time he saw a detective of color smeared a bit of the dye. Oh my god. Okay. All right. So we have Bad Street Reflections, art by Rod Looper. Do you want to give just a little bit of a rundown of what these stories are about? Not like super extensive, but just so that we can get a feel of what each one is.
So they're very short stories. They range anywhere from 2 to 6 or 7 pages, and they're basically little fragments, little moments where people kind of are interacting with the meaning of their life.
Are they all written? I know Aldous said again, if not one of the best writers in this space, certainly the best grasp of iambic pentameter. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Big pentameter. Are they all written in the same style across because they have been previously?
No. So what the stories in here are basically every short story or poem that I've ever had published before I started making comics, and they're all converted into comics, like comic book stories. So some of them might be like this, where it's like free verse poetry. Some of it might be just a traditional comic book with like dialogue and telling a story. I'm trying to think. One of them will be an iambic pentameter. One of them is going to be, it's called a ghazal. It's like the Middle Eastern Persian equivalent of a sonnet. So they're going to be in different forms.
A ghazal.
A ghazal. Ghazal.
Did you get this idea from anywhere else, or did you just so you're writing, you got these poems, you're writing these poems based on all your sort of philosophical investigations and everything. What made you think, oh, these should be a graphic novel, like with pictures and everything? Did you see something like that, or did you just you saw it needed to happen or something?
I think that it just comes from like I don't know if you know this. I am a weird person, and
Oh, I'm aware. You know, I think we're all across that at this point.
I tend to see like really ordinary things from very unorthodox angles, and I overthink everything. And so I think a lot of my storytelling comes from the organization of these unusual ideas or perspectives, or and I think a lot about life in general. That when I sit down to write, it becomes like just an exercise in trying to harness these really just weird abstract thoughts and try to make them as tangible and relatable to people as I possibly can. And that's basically the formula for a lot of my stories.
Your video on the Lucent is probably my all-time favorite review of the Lucent. And I like how you broke down how I was sort of telling the story and how you would do it.
Right.
And I kind of kept that in my mind. And as I was rereading the first one, I was like, yeah, that is sort of what he's doing at the start of the book. You don't really know how any of this is connected, but
Right.
as you progress, and then definitely, you know, by the end at least of that, you know, first story,
well, I think
brought back around.
That you and people like you and I and Per Berg, we're kind of these kindred spirits in the way we craft stories. They're not similar, but I think that the three of us are all people who spend a lot of time, or at least I know I do. I spend a lot of time thinking about the mechanics of storytelling and what treating storytelling almost like a playground and trying to, you know, do things what we like, do things like formulate things how we want them to be, how we kind of conjure things into existence that didn't before. I think is like it's my goal when I'm telling a story.
The cops are coming after you.
Yeah.
They're not disco lights, they're siren lights.
Guys, I'm under arrest, so if you can just help me get out. I need bail money.
No, absolutely. You know, and that just sort of, I don't know how that came about. If in me, it was always going to happen that way. And you know, I've been praised for my writing as well, which I greatly appreciate. I know you have too. I'm doing it right now to you. We obviously Per has as well, but that's a very good club in my mind to be involved in. I'm just going to quickly run through what people can get on the pack on the campaign here. So you can get the 3-book bundle there, all 3 books for $30. You can get if you've got the others, you can just get issue 3 by itself. So that's probably here's the best deal you're going to get, because basically you're getting the first 2 books at like a really discounted rate. There are retailer bundles, but very interestingly, you got some very cool art on here. So we've got one of our favorite artists, Mr. Skunk artwork. Speaking of the Germans, I have a skunk. I have that skunk Lucent piece hanging in my hallway. I walk past it many times every day. I look at it. It's a beautiful piece. You can get your own skunk artworks for a mere $250 and featuring the cello player there. I'm trying to zoom in too much. There we go. Some glorious Rich A. Ala art. Is this just random pages from his story?
Yeah, these are the 3 pages from a story. I'm just going to go in order. Like the first person gets the first page. Second, no, wait. I'm taking the first page. Whoever buys,
everyone else gets the rest.
Yeah.
AGE Comics in the house, just picked up the catch-up tier. Looking forward to it. You are in for a ride. Again, sit down in silence. Maybe get a cup of tea. I don't know, whatever you drink. And just let it take you away to somewhere where you weren't expecting to be taken. We've got original art bundle here. Who's this artist?
So this is the original art from Eudaimonia 1.
Oh, right, yes. Of course.
I've been able to reconnect with Emmy. And so what's going to happen is when one page gets bought up, another is going to replace it from the first 2 books. If anybody has any favorite pages theirs, feel free to let me know, message me on Twitter, whatever. And I'll be sure to add if there's a particular one you're looking for, I can probably get it.
Arrogant says, yeah, showing the piece on the page he's going to keep, that's very JP, apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Another JP moment. Yes, Dean, we know. Well, things happen in this life. What can I say? It happened. It is what it is. Yes, the splash did fulfill. I've got my copy. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I've got mine, so I don't know. Maybe reach out to Skunk. I got mine. Maybe
I got mine
6 months ago. Fair time ago. It didn't take long.
All right, let's turn the show into a witch hunt against Skunk.
Well, it's like the pitchforks. They're out there, It's like it's reflecting the story. They go down expecting to find what they didn't know, and they found a old man at the end of his life playing the cello. This isn't going to make sense to anyone.
I know. They're probably going to be like, wait, what? It's going to sound like that episode of South Park with like gay cowboys and pudding.
It's actually very difficult to pitch.
Yeah.
Other than just to say, please read it. Here's another fantastic writer, Brian Kiskow, in the house. I don't know, there's something about it. I want to promote people who are really hyper focused on writing fantastic works, regardless of whether they're comics or poems or novels. And this is sort of like novella, all rolled into one. He says it right here. Eudaimonia really blew my mind. It's a really special book. Couldn't agree more. We have look at that.
Yeah,
so
the cover for the cover too. Yeah,
that's a bit of an iconic cover too. That's sort of like probably the main image that I attribute.
Well, no, that's book 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know what happened to the cover. Oh no, I'm buying the cover. Yeah, sorry. Another JP moment. I'm buying the cover from book 1.
What happened to that? Oh yeah. I took it for myself. Nice. Yes. All right. Let me scroll back up. We'll see. We'll see what we're working with here. And up to 12 backers. What is that? 731 raised, which is over $1,100 dues. Well on our way. I saw some stretch goals here. Let's have a look. What are we looking to get to? So are these are all stories that you're going to unlock?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I've never seen anyone do something quite like that before. So this one has already been unlocked. The People versus.
I don't think so because that is not.
Oh no, right? Yes, no, not dollar
dues.
Yes, I forgot. Close though. Sounded good, so I jumped on it. Yes, give this book a shot, people. This is not a series to miss out on. And everyone's congratulating you. Can we get it to 1K? I think we can. We've got the momentum. We got the people here. If everybody shares it out, likes the stream, lets everyone know that you don't. It's kind of like a bit of a crazy launch week. I don't know if you know this.
I know.
Everyone is launching. I was going to launch next week. I had to push it back just to get away from all you people. Like it was just you're crowding my space.
I thought that because, and I still think this, that it's momentum. You know what I mean? And I'm at a lower. Exactly. I'm at a lower price point because I'm printing more. So I can do art shows and things like that. So I can offer, a lower price point. It's a much lower bar for entry. And yeah,
I originally had posted the art of the plane, but then I changed it up to the one on the cover. This sort of is standing out to me. I mean, I know like all the stories have been involved in war, but they've kind of been historical. So I'm guessing you're sort of heading into kind of more modern times.
Yeah, the plane story is it's a horror story, and what makes it truly horrifying is it's a true story. It's one of those like I can't believe this actually happened kind of stories.
A recent story?
No, this was maybe in the 80s.
Okay. Mo says, what Josh lacks in heterosexual lighting sensibilities, he makes up in his writing ability. I'm not exaggerating. He's that good. Wow.
Wow.
That is a fantastic backhanded compliment there.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'm gay, but I'm talented.
Well, bisexual, you know, slightly. Isn't that's probably gay. Counts. Yeah. Do you want to like tell us a little bit about any of these other stories here from anything you want to shout out?
Well, I was actually kind of hoping because, I said that I was trying to do something a little bit different, and chief among those is what I want more than anything is readers. I don't want backers. I mean, I want backers, but I want backers who are hungry to read. Yep. So the thing that I did that was so different is I put that story up on Global Comics for people to check out to kind of whet their appetite. But the interiors on here on the campaign page, I'm offering you one story, and you can read that story. And if it doesn't speak to you, this probably isn't for you. But if it does, I want to kind of welcome you into this world. Yeah, it's that part right there. It's like, let me just tell you one story. And I was doing it was like a book fair a couple of months back, and this woman came at my table. She was drawn in by the art. I was telling her about it. She's kind of on the fence about it, and I said, I handed her Eudaimonia, and I opened up to a page, and I said, read this page, just one page, just read it right now. And she started reading it, and she's like, this is really annoying. And I was like, you're talking about the writing? She's like, yeah. I was like, probably not for you. And she's like, well, my husband would love this. So the book isn't for everybody, and I would rather have people know before they're backing if it's going to be something that they want to read. So that's what this is here for. If this story grabs you, it's about a guy walking down the street, and he's old, but he's also young. Maybe it'll mean something to you. And if it doesn't, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It just isn't for you, and that's fine. But maybe it is. And if you like it, $15. Come on inside. I'd love to tell you a few more stories.
JP hitting on married chicks is all Snugs heard.
Yeah. ABH. ABHOMC. Always be hitting
between her and her husband.
Yeah.
Sounded like.
I was hitting on her husband, actually.
Yeah, with the bisexual lighting.
It was just a really long-winded pickup attempt.
Yeah. You're playing the long game. Jake says, I enjoyed Nualum as well. Yeah, Nualum was one of my favorites of the last couple of years as well. But you are correct in that Eudaimonia especially is very, very different. I mean, we've said that before. It's not going to be for everyone. But I do hope that people will give it a chance because it is kind of singular. I was flipping through them. I was looking for the friggin' book. I don't have that in alphabetical order or anything. It's just everything's jammed in there wherever I do it. So every time I need to find a book, I have to go flip through things. And there's nothing else in those two shelves and scattered around these table here quite like Eudaimonia. Actually, anything like it. So give it a chance. Let it sink in, because I think it's gonna like I felt different after I read it. This is just like half an hour ago, and I was like, damn, I had to tell people about it. And it looks like you have another story you need to put in there. Let's refresh, and bang, there it is, $1,049. The first stretch goal reached from 14 backers. Thank you, everybody. We're getting there. One off the list.
Haha, joke's on you. I already had that story done.
I thought you might. It's already there. That's free money. It's definitely a book you need to let percolate a little bit. Yeah, is it like what you do with coffee? You sit it there. It's like I actually had my first whiskey in God, probably over a year last night. I don't know why. I just thought I wanted to have a whiskey. And yeah, you take a sip, but then you let it sit.
Mm.
Let it sink in. That's what reading Eudaimonia is like, having a whiskey. This is what JP looks like. I suddenly think Conway has better eats than otherwise suggested. What does that mean? I don't even know what that reference is.
Oh, you mean my part 25 series about reviewing restaurants in Conway, Arkansas?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My goal is to make the most niche things you can possibly imagine.
Yeah. Which is funny because I've always said you are just like this born storyteller. I do enjoy listening to you tell stories. But you insist on telling very esoteric stories. It's just like, but then maybe if you didn't, you wouldn't be quite the storyteller you are. So it's sort of is what it is.
Mean, I for one am shocked that Mark Millar is not itching to work with me.
Well, he doesn't want to be outshined. You know, that's the thing.
I was going to draw. He'll write. I'll draw.
There you go. Critical Reads just back. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. More JP stories are a good thing. And if you come back, remember, folks, sharing that link makes a huge difference. Absolutely. This is how we get the word out. And just like we said, I mean, getting the word out on a story like this is so imperative because it isn't what normally sells books. You know, there's not like these, even though the art is beautiful, the cover is a cello, you know? So it's, it's going to take a little bit of work to get people to understand what something like this is all about.
I think I actually chose the cello because one of the first dates that I had with my wife, we were walking on the boardwalk and there was just a woman playing a cello. And I was just so captivated by how it is simultaneously beautiful, but also haunting at the same time, that it just kind of made like the perfect vessel for the idea of eudaimonia, because it's like, that's the whole thing, right? It's about purpose, and purpose in your life is both like the greatest thing in the world, but also the scariest to think about, you know?
I just keep falling back on, it's something that is sort of, I don't know if it's looked down on. It's definitely dismissed. And I feel like the only place where it's really happening anymore in a large scale is on YouTube, where you get people coming together to talk about real things like meaning and life and, you know, history and all that sort of stuff. And it's usually guys doing it.
Sure.
And everyone else is just sort of going through their daily lives, and life is so much more hectic. No one has any time anymore.
Right.
And I don't know how it got to that. Everyone's like, oh, I don't have time to do this. And people don't read books because they don't have time. So they have to listen to audiobooks if they can. And I don't know how it got to that, because we're so technologically advanced now. We have all these conveniences that do things for us. Now we have AI freaking doing things for us, but we somehow don't have any time to sort of stop and reflect and get kind of real.
Yeah.
So that's probably that, like when you're telling a story about the cello, that like something like that, it's just so out of the ordinary, it would just kind of stop you and like reframe.
Well, I think the thing about eudaimonia is I don't want people to get the wrong impression. I'm not like a motivational speaker telling you to go out and like discover Buddha or anything. It's more an exercise in asking you to think about it. That's it. I don't have any answers. I'm not going to, help you get back together with your wife or your estranged family. I'm just asking you to think about life and what it means to you through the lenses of these stories, and what meaning and purpose means to the characters in them. Because I know it's hard to believe looking at me, but I don't have all the answers.
I'm shocked. I'm utterly shocked. Alda says it's an older form of storytelling. It's the experimental and effective, free-flowing, purely creative stuff that made heavy metal what it was in those early years. It's what makes Epic Illustrated those first few years of the Epic imprint special. JP's captured it, embraced it, made it his masthead. But he's not going to make you reconnect with your lost love.
Not here.
Yeah, no. For me, it's like a lot of sci-fi is like that, and yours isn't really. This isn't sci-fi. It's more just. It's kind of like dreamlike, actually.
Oh,
you know. What did you say?
Cosmic horror.
Cosmic horror. Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
but there's moments
to kind of take you through the story. There's a moment here. Go down a little bit. So this is a story about a guy who is like kind of Mad Men. He's on his way to a meeting. He's going to have Manhattans and all that. And he sees this old guy standing across the street. And as he walks closer to him, the old guy, his movements mirror his perfectly. And he has this kind of moment, if you scroll down a bit, where he realizes that the old guy he was looking at is him. And he has this kind of thought that like, oh yeah, it just occurred to me, my life has already been lived. Because what he's going through is what used to be called sundown syndrome, which is what we now call Alzheimer's. And he has this kind of like moment of lucidity looking at himself, and he remembers suddenly, oh yeah, I had a wife, I had kids, and when he takes out the photograph of he kind of remembers back to when he met his wife, and then, when she passed, and when he used to sit by her grave. He doesn't do that anymore. And then he takes out a photo and he sees a picture of his sons, and it's kind of a reiterating the idea of like sun, sundown, double meaning. And that's too much for him, and it pushes him back into the delusion that he's on his way to a meeting. And it's horrible. It's horrifying. And what makes it so horrifying is that fate could be awaiting any of us, right?
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, a few people in the chat and us together are gonna have Alzheimer's. So it's kind of like in 6 pages telling the story of a man going through Alzheimer's the way he perceives it. So what I'm saying is this is an all family ages read, really, really uplifting and bright. And
no, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like this sort of stuff, it sits with you. It's hard to shake. And that's why I was kind of talking, like most of the time it's sci-fi stories that do this to me. Good ones, real ones, like in the vein of Asimov or something. But there was an episode of the Orville. Have you ever watched the Orville?
No, but I've wanted to for a while.
I think they sold it to the network as a parody of The Next Generation, and then they did that for like half a season, and then just made it The Next Generation, and just told some of the best new sci-fi stories that we've seen in years. One of them was about a guy who, one of the crew gets trapped in I think it's in a different time or something like that. I can't remember if it was the future or the past, but anyway, and has a whole family. But because he broke the time code or whatever, you're not allowed to do that. He had to take him back, and it pretty much erased that timeline. So it erased his family. And it was just like, I remember just being haunted by that for weeks. I was like, that is good storytelling. Just like, wow, like, just kind of hits you right there, because, if you have a family, you're like thinking like, even though it's a completely crazy situation. I'm sorry.
All I can think of is that there was a story exactly like that to the T in an episode of Doctor Who like 10 years ago.
Yeah. There was one actually similar to that in The Next Generation as well. So probably even the Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, stuff like that. But those are really popular. those sorts of shows, those sorts of stories. What hasn't really been done that much that I know of is doing it in how you're doing it in comic book form, because traditionally comic books have been very plot driven, action driven.
Well, something that Aldous and I have talked at length about is the idea, and it's very pervasive in comics, is that you read comics for what makes them special, but what you really connect with is what makes them human. You know what I mean? So the more no matter what you're setting something in, the more it reflects some kind of reality that you can relate to, the more, what's the word I'm looking for, invested you can become in it, or the more immersive the story is.
Yeah. And it's and this one is like hits a lot close to home, because probably every single one of us at least knows someone who has had Alzheimer's and dementia.
Right.
I certainly do. And anytime you see something, they've figured out some way to maybe lessen the risk, you're like, I read it. What is it? Because it does seem almost like a fate worse than death in many ways. But
okay, keep it light. Keep it light.
You're the one who wrote the story
and
put it up on your campaign page as the main selling point for your book.
I mean, yeah, I wanted to have, because I talked about it before, about how I want readers, right? So this is the proverbial, taking the dog behind the shed, only not even behind the shed. Like, come here, Timmy, you're going to learn about life.
It is true. I remember I got a review once. Someone gave me an F on Waking Dream. And because it just wasn't what they want. It's not what they're looking for in a comic. They're not interested in this kind of like extended mystery and blah 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 and getting deep and being layered. None of that. They just wanted the heroic tale and punching people and all that sort of stuff, which is fine. It's just, and I felt like, did I sell this incorrectly? Did I say it was like that at any point? So I had to go back and kind of look and make sure, all right, let's not do that again. Like, make sure everyone knows sort of what they're getting into.
Did that cause you to, I guess, did it cause you to restructure, or are you just like, do you have like just a set game plan?
It hasn't caused me to restructure the story in any way, but and I've gotten this feedback from lots of people, including people in this chat here. So like, it's kind of like just the format of crowdfunding and having years in between and stuff. It doesn't really fit that well with the way I'm telling my story. So I might do things differently going forward. That includes more regular digital releases and stuff. But the actual story, no, I mean, the story is the story. And, you've read my story. It's sort of like it's on its path and there's no getting off it, because I've laid the whole friggin', the whole underpinning to it out. So, but I just like, some people, it's like, you just got to understand your story isn't going to be for everyone. I mean, and clearly you understand that.
Right.
And, but you've got to, I think obviously the best stories are going to be the ones where the writer is trying to tell something genuine and authentic according to them, and not just appease a trend of the time, whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's true not just in storytelling, but in just about anything, is that nobody is going to make anything that everybody likes.
No.
But in fact, I think you're going to inevitably make things that people like and people don't like. It's where you get lost in the center and indifference. That is where failure is found. You know what I mean? So if you just accept the fact that like some people are going to like what you're doing, some people aren't, perfect. I think that became like one of the foundations of, like, I know this is random, but like sports journalism is like that. Like those insane people on TV saying insane things are going for something that will make 50% of people angry and 50% of people feeling validated. So that's kind of like the sweet spot.
Juan Wong, thank you. Welcome to the chat. I think I know someone with dementia, but I can't remember who it is. It's very frustrating because I'm sure it's someone close to me. Thank you for the super chat and bringing a little bit of levity here. Also, if you want to look at a fantastic depiction of dementia, one of my favorite new series, Afterlife. Again, it's a very heavy, dark sort of subject. This is the Ricky Gervais show, but he just puts in so much incredible comedy onto it. It's very watchable and enjoyable somehow, even though it's about death and dementia and dying, all that sort of stuff.
Wait, did you say Ricky Gervais? What was the name of that show?
Ricky Gervais, yes.
What was the name of the show, though?
Afterlife.
Okay, I'm talking about completely different. No, sorry. He has another show about. He had a show about. He was, I don't know. I want to say somewhere deep on the spectrum, and he was working in an home.
Derek.
That show is fantastic.
Derek is one of my favorite shows of all time. And I legitimately think Ricky Gervais is maybe the greatest, mainstream storyteller and comedian and everything. Like, he might just be that because definitely, if you like Derek, you have to watch Afterlife. It's very different, but it's a lot of the same actors, and it's it's laugh out loud hilarious while being super dark.
While you'll tear up.
Oh, dude, it is. It's like it'll hit you. It'll actually hit you hard. It's difficult to watch sometimes. Anyway, Albert says, the Lucid will be immensely positively received when it's complete, which is not to say that it isn't great. I just think the whole thing will definitely be more accessible than its parts. Yeah, exactly, 100%. And it goes back to the fact that I started originally doing it as a webtoon, sort of thinking I would be releasing it more regularly, but just the way things played out, and crowdfunding and CG and everything took off. I took a shot at crowdfunding. It worked out incredibly well for me, but we'll see how we go moving forward. Afterlife is Bancroft's favorite new series from 6 years ago. It is getting on a bit now. I mean, in the last 10 or so years, newish, it is what it is. All right. I think let me scroll back up here. We've just been chatting and we've just been going over the hour. That's perfectly cool. Like I said, I enjoy chatting with you. Refresh up to 16 backers, well over $1,000, 217% funded. The next one, the Bulma. What that could be.
Excuse me. Did you ever watch The Wire?
No, I should. Everyone tells me I need to watch it.
So the thing about The Wire is I spent a fair amount of time in Baltimore. My father's side of the family is from Baltimore. And a lot of people in Baltimore who have that kind of working class accent, when they say Baltimore, they just say Balmer. And so when you watch The Wire, you find, because they were so into making it authentic, there are many characters in the show that even the closed captions say Balmer. So this is just a story that kind of takes place in Baltimore, in Balmer.
Yeah, people tell I have to watch The Wire. And I do. It's just one of those things that's like, okay, I gotta.
You have to commit to it, because you're gonna get a few episodes in and you're gonna be like, oh, where's this going? But like, you got to trust in the process that it'll be worth it.
I heard it's got a fantastic ending as well, which is rare. Yeah. All right. Well, let's say no more. I do want to watch it at some point. Like, everyone here is agreeing. Yeah, The Wire's really good. I got to watch it. Deadwood is another one. I think it's so much stuff. I always complain that I don't have anything to watch, and then there's all this stuff I haven't watched. Yes. I'm getting there. Now you will be streaming. Where is it? Let me actually. It's not for a little while.
You know what? I haven't been able to see anything this entire time. So
really?
Let me change over. So, yeah, let me.
It's been all blurry.
Yeah, no,
just
I haven't been able to
guessing
see
what I've
anything.
been looking at.
Now I look like I'm reporting on the Kennedy assassination. In Dallas, Texas, 3:30 p.m. The president has been shot.
All right, it's not coming up on my list, but it's going to be over on the LCH channel, I believe. If Aldous is still in the chat, you gotta let us know. You guys are going to be doing. I think it'll be in an hour and a half, so I won't raid into it. I'll go over to let's go over to Ronan Joe. How about that? Right into that. But later on in an hour and a half, you guys will be continuing this party on in the over with Aldous.
And doing what we always do and talking about some great old comics.
There you go. There you go. So look forward to that. Congratulations on the launch. Congratulations getting funded. First stretch goal, and many more to come. And everyone who's still on the fence, even if it's not for you, maybe you know someone like in JP's story who it might be for. And again, I cannot recommend this one enough. Really good book. All right, everybody. Thank you. That is it for me. Tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow because I accidentally had double booked. So originally it was going to be Mark Poulton. And then I said, oh, no, I'd already agreed to launching this. So we're going to do that tomorrow. So we're just going to be, he just launched that today. So we'll be bringing him on, chatting, seeing what Gun Goth is all about. And, well, Eric says, yeah, I could probably sell this to an Alzheimer patient 5 times. Exactly. Get the retail bundle. Just come back every day. Once you get it down, you know, they got plenty of money. All right, everybody. That's it from me. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, hope you have a fantastic
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Perth made an Australian video, and I wasn't even in it. Emotional damage.